Hi there and welcome. It's my pleasure to show you the custom app that I created using Salesforce. It's a book lending app called Reader's Nest. Why a book lending app? Well, I'm a regular visitor of our city library. I'm an avid reader myself, and it so happened that I was in the library when I was brainstorming ideas to build my Salesforce portfolio. And I was thinking what it'd be like if the library uses Salesforce to manage the book collection, the users, and the book lending system. What are the main objects that need to be set in the app? How is the data model going to be? And what are some automation tools that I can configure to support some of the processes? So that's how it basically started, and here's how the app looks like so far. First off, we have the home page, which displays a code as well as a dashboard, which I'll get back to later. The next six tabs are essentially based on the main objects of this custom app. First, you have the Bookings tab, which shows all the bookings or book loans recorded in the system. Then we have the Books tab, which shows all the distinct book titles available in the library. Next, we have the Book Items tab, which shows the distinct copies of all the book titles in the library. So say for example, in the library we have two copies of a book called 1984. So this book would have a single record under the Books tab and two records under the Book Items tab. Next, we have the Authors tab, which shows the distinct authors of the books. Then we have the Readers tab, which shows all the registered members in the library. The readers are classified into two types, the student reader and the non-student reader. So what's the difference between the two? Essentially, it has something to do with their borrowing privilege, which I'll discuss later. Finally, we have the Institutions tab, which shows the distinct affiliated institutions of the readers, which could be a school if they are a student reader or a business entity if they are not a student. I will get back to the screen later, but for now, I will show you the data model of this app. We are here at the schema builder. As you can see, we have three master detail relationships and two lookup relationships. The booking object serves as a junction object to establish the many-to-many relationship between the book item object and the reader object. The book item object also has a master detail relationship to the book object, which in turn has a lookup relationship to the author object. Lastly, the reader object has a lookup relationship to the institution object. Now moving on, I'll show you how books may be recorded in the system. For example, we have two new copies of this book, The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. So first, we create the author record, then the book record, and finally the book items. Once done, these books are ready to be loaned out. Say we have a library user who wants to borrow one of the books. First, we go to the Records tab to register the user. Then to proceed with the booking, we go to the Bookings tab. As you can see, I made use of record types to distinguish a student reader from a non-student reader. As mentioned earlier, the difference between these two is on their borrowing privilege. Per policy, each reader can borrow a book for 7 days. However, a student reader can renew the booking twice for the next 2 weeks. This difference is reflected on the available Picklist values of the booking status on the path of each record type. So now we proceed with the booking like so. For booking renewal, I created a flow action in booking object, which invokes a screen flow that renews a booking for another 7 days. This custom action is only available for student reader record type, and I enable dynamic actions, so this button only shows up when the reader has not yet maxed out the renewal privilege. When the book is returned before it's due, we get the confetti as configured in Path Celebration. The Reader's Nest app follows these booking policies. Number 1, each reader can borrow up to 7 books only. The reader must be in active status. To satisfy this requirement, I've created these validation rules that check on the status and the number of active bookings of the reader. Next up, number 2, each reader can borrow a book up to 7 days. A student reader can renew the booking twice for 2 consecutive weeks. As shown earlier, record types were used for this requirement. Finally, number 3 on reader suspension. Point 1. A reader shall be suspended when he or she fails to return the books within 3 days grace period following the return due date. Suspension period is 30 days. Point 2. In case of total loss or total damage of a book borrowed, the reader shall be required to replace the book with a brand new one of the same genre. Failure to replace the item will entail a 180-day suspension period. After the suspension period, the reader shall be reactivated again. So to automate checking of bookings and readers due for suspension or reactivation, I've created a scheduled flow set to run daily at 1 in the morning that checks on these 3 cases. Case 1, when date today is past the return due date plus the 3-day grace period. In such case, we suspend the reader for 1 month. Case 2, when the book is still not returned and the date today is past the return due date plus the 30-day suspension period. In such case, we suspend the reader for 180 days. And case 3, when the 180-day suspension period has passed, we close the booking with a status close, not returned, and set the reader status back to active. Last but not the least, reports and dashboard. I've created several reports and a dashboard to display some key figures and charts. For example, this is the total number of books currently loaned out. This chart shows the bookings in October grouped by their status. And this chart utilizes the bucket column to group the readers based on their age. And that's it for now. I know this is a relatively simple app, and I'm hoping that I get to show you my understanding of some key concepts in Salesforce. Thank you for watching, and mabuhay!